Hey everybody, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to Mikki time.
Let's just call it Mo time. Zoom the camera on me.
Okay.
Just my beautiful face.
And we'll just do that for a while.
Let's just talk, me and you. We're here. We're here together. We're doing things.
Yeah.
We're living our best lives. No, Keith, I have a question for you.
What's up?
You're musically gifted. Would you say
man.
that? You have a good ear.
People have been very nice to me with compliments about music in my life, yes.
Have you ever farted and just wondered, like, what note is that? What key is that in, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, because when you hear one that's squeaky, you're like, oh, I bet that's like a falsetto note. You know, like maybe a Sammy Hagar or a maybe a Freddie Mercury could have sung that.
They say if your farts come out squeaky, that means you don't have hair in your butthole.
Yeah, mine are more like rubber bands. It's like a rubber, like it's rubbery.
Mine's kind of like a trombone. It's
I
kinda
can
like...
see. I pretty much assumed that. I pretty much assumed you have a trombone style ass.
It's like a real flat, actually.
The fart sound, like it doesn't. You don't hear like any kind of fun wave, like a wavelength change.
I wish I had one in the chamber right now, just a nice big one.
Dude,
but
I'm gonna try to hold them in this podcast, but I have had some rough Super Bowl gas today. Ate a lot of bad foods, and you just pay the price the next day.
What's your Super Bowl? What's the Super Bowl snack? What's that looking like for you?
Well, this one we got what I thought was delivery, but ended up being DiGiorno.
Oh,
so there was that.
that's
and I
gross.
have, I'm going to say this. I've actually dogged on DiGiorno in the past. I'm more of a Freshetta guy.
I actually know what Freshetta is.
And a lot of people don't know Freshetta, I think. It's like, I felt like they did a lot of advertising, and I felt like more people knew Freshetta, but like, I guess people like Freshetta. I mean, DiGiorno, everybody knows DiGiorno.
It's OG classic.
It is a class, and I got it. I got it, and
did you get the stuffed crust?
The last time I had it, I didn't get the stuffed crust the last time. I've had the stuffed crust, and I like the stuffed crust. But the last time I had it before the Super Bowl, very disappointed. And I think, and this could be it, I think maybe it thawed and then got refrozen, and then I bought it.
Oh.
Because I baked it right after I bought it, so it definitely didn't happen on me, but there was something weird going on with the crust consistency. I was a little bit disappointed, and that's when I was like done with DiGiorno. I'm sticking with Freshetta.
You almost badmouthed Freshetta.
I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't, because I would love them.
Because they have good lawyers.
I would love to have them. Would love to have them as a sponsor for the podcast.
I would want DiGiorno money before Freshetta money.
The first food I ever ate out of a dumpster was DiGiorno.
It was pizza for me.
You've had dumpster pizza?
Yeah, my mom had, for some reason, this white lady babysitted us one night, and my mom came back, and the lady was so sweet, and she bought it, she ordered us pizza, and I never had pizza. This was maybe 2 years in the country for me. I was a young child, and me and my brother were freaking out. We were like, pizza's delicious, yay!
Yeah.
And my mom flipped out on everybody.
Some all Italian.
Because there were pepperonis on the pizza.
Yeah,
pork.
No good.
So my mom dumped out the pizza, and when she laid down, we went in the garbage and grabbed our slices back.
Nice. Did you pick the pepperonis off, or you just went for it?
I like the pepperonis.
Yeah.
At the time.
I
don't eat pork now.
Yeah, you were a little kid. You didn't know any better.
I didn't know any better.
People make
She
mistakes.
also didn't explain it. She wasn't like, we're Muslim, we don't eat pork. She was just like, no!
Don't you dare.
It's like when you take a toy away from your dog and they just go look for it.
Yeah, they don't understand. You little dog children just didn't understand it. You're like, give me that nice, delicious pepperoni pizza.
We just thought she was a mean lady. Mean
Yeah.
lady working 2 jobs to support us. Mean lady.
Mean. I had a roommate who was into dumpster diving, and one night he came back with about 15 frozen DiGiorno pizzas. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? He comes in the door in our 3rd floor apartment just carrying a stack of pizzas. And I'm just like, what the hell? He's just like, yeah, man, we're dumpster diving. We got all these pizzas. I mean, they were all in the box. They were all sealed and double sealed, really, because they're like in plastic. So I was like, if you're going to eat something out of a dumpster.
That's, yeah. Did you check the expiration date? Or?
Yeah, they were expired.
Oh.
But it's frozen pizza. Like, that date's not like set in stone. Like, you're gonna die if you eat it past.
That's some
that
white
point.
people shit right there. Because Courtney says the
White
same thing
people
about expiration date. It's like, I'm very big on if the expiration date's I'm not touching it. But she'll be like, oh, those eggs are fine. It's just a week after expiration.
Oh yeah,
And I'm
eggs.
like, no.
Eggs for sure are fine.
Or she's like, oh, the spinach is fine. Those are just lies. The expiration. And I'm like, no.
You gotta go the smell, the look test.
Yeah, well, I think if you have to employ a test to figure out whether or not you should eat something, I think you should draw the line right there. Like,
That's fine. No, and I respect you being wrong. But
if doubt creeps into your mind before you eat something,
yeah,
that is God telling you to stop.
God
Telling you to stop. I'm sorry, I watched a lot of Club Shay Shay this weekend, so
I bet you did.
I'm feeling about 20 times blacker today.
You watched the Cat Williams interview for the 48th time.
I actually watched the Monique interview for the 3rd time.
Very well. No, but I liked that. I want to talk more about this expiration.
I don't want to walk away from it either.
Because it's good. That's good stuff. I mean, I'm if it's a dairy product and it's refrigerated, yeah, I'm not gonna be eating old ass milk. I'm not gonna be drinking old milk because also the smell test pretty evident. I mean, what stank milk smells like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, that's never gonna slide. It's like, oh, that's only a little bit stanky. I'm gonna eat that.
The worst is when you have a really good cereal.
Yeah.
And you just want milk, and you realize you got the stank milk.
Yeah.
Stank, and then you
know what you do? You just get some water, pour the water, and mix a little flour in there.
That's a move.
I made that up just now.
I know some people
hope
put
nobody
water
does that.
in there. I think the flour was a step too far.
Yeah,
why do you need the flour?
It's just to make it white.
Just to make it white.
Just to make it literal dough.
Just to make it.
Just
a quick
crappy
roux.
dough.
Really, just oil.
Yeah, you ever put a little oil and a little flour in your cereal?
That's all you need.
Make a little cereal roux.
That's all you need right there. Nah, I'm big on expiration dates. I'm heavy on the expiration date.
I heard about a friend of mine. I'll leave them nameless. I'll say a friend of mine is a personal
You have friends?
A personal assistant. I do. A personal assistant to this wealthy guy in New York City, we'll say.
Ooh.
And
You can't say like you gotta say New York City.
Yeah, New York City. He's a really wealthy guy in New York City, and he had a drinking problem. And so his move,
Heavy as the crown.
his move would be, he would be drunk all the time, drinking. Let's say
Hennessy,
no. Let's go
Crown Royal,
fancy whiskey. Let's go high end whiskey. He's just drinking high end whiskey.
JB.
Every detail is made up, but it's like parallel to the reality of this story. So you cannot figure out who this person I'm talking about is. That's the whole point. But anyway,
Is it Brendan Schaub?
guy is worth, let's say, $100 million. Very wealthy guy. Could do. Money doesn't mean anything to him. Whatever. The point is, this guy used to have my friend buy all the groceries, and then with anything that had like a coming up expiration date, when he bought it, his whole thing was to wait till the day or like Best By date, because it had to be a Best By date. That's different than expiration date. It's like Best By this day. So he would wait till the Best By date, and if it was spoiled, he would return it. Like if it wasn't still good on the Best By date, which was when he would eat all of his food. That's wild, right?
It's wild to me that like when
He
you're
has
that
all that
rich,
money.
yeah,
And he's just totally getting off on this idea of like, I want to see if I can get something free.
There's this thing about though when you're really rich and ultra rich, like there's some people, if they're the ones who earned it,
Yeah.
they're super cognizant about money, and it's a game to them. It's not like money. I think who said it? Donald Trump once said, "Money, it's a score." I remember someone repeated that back to me one time. Actually, it was a comic we both know. It was Jamie, and he had said to me, Donald Trump once said, "Money is just a score to me," and that's what a lot of people look at. It's just a score. It's just a scorecard. That's what I'm worth.
Okay.
And in their head, it's like every dime I can to save. Like I know this really rich guy. He's the sweetest guy in the world. He'll brag about little savings. He's like, yeah, I got this coupon, saved me 20% on this. I'm like, dude, you're incredibly wealthy. Why do you care?
Those people love to save money.
And that's why they're rich and I'm not. Because
Exactly.
my ass, I forget coupons all the time.
You're buying
I never
MetaQuest 3s.
I bought a MetaQuest 3 less than 24 hours after you let me try on your headset.
No, you were like, sold.
By the same time a day, I had a MetaQuest 3.
You had to have it.
I had to.
You know how long it took me to pull the trigger on that thing? It took me, I was back and forth for almost 2 months before I could finally just be like, all right, I'm going to do it.
You know what also made me pretty confident about pulling the trigger? Same with the camera that I have. We have the exact same camera. I have the same camera as
Yeah,
Keith.
man.
Same VR headset as Keith. Because I know Keith researches. And I know if it's Keith approved, I think I should buy it. And it's never steered me wrong.
Good. That's something you gotta look. You don't look. You'll buy something on TikTok.
Yeah, but there's cheap stuff.
I know, but it's like you're just burning money.
It's like $4.
Junk.
It's $4.
Yeah, but that's just like the TikTok tax that they get you, because it's junk. They're just selling. They're just taking your money and giving you nothing.
I use all that stuff.
That's
you
good.
know what I haven't used really are the wigs. The wigs were like $2 each.
So, I'm working on a sketch idea. And I think it's going to be fun, and you guys can look out for this. It's going to be, it's going to have to do with...
Is Hallinan wearing a dress?
I don't know.
Hallinan wearing a dress?
I don't know. But it's going to have to do with just like buying things online and like what it used to be like to buy something in person versus what it's like to buy things online now.
I did buy my headsets in person. I went to Best Buy.
Great.
Went to a human being. Ordered it online
nice.
And picked it up there, though. I didn't shop.
No, I shopped on Amazon.
Shout out Zon.
Shout out Amazon. I'm not even I don't care. Whatever you want to say. You hate Amazon. You know what? It's saving me money, and I'm not rich.
Yeah.
And I want to save a little money. So
honestly, I wish Amazon was crueler. If they were just crueler, I would use them as a company more often.
If they were cooler?
Crueler.
Oh,
cruel. Cruel.
Did you see they opened an Amazon warehouse in a really like impoverished neighborhood in Mexico?
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
that would
like
really uplift the community.
Well, it's this like fancy, nice looking building, and it's just houses made out of pallets right next to it. And it is such a weird thing to see. But the community is actually like super grateful for it. They're like, this is work. We can actually like now have somewhere to make money instead of just like looking for more pallets.
Yeah. Well, capitalism is about ripping people off. It's the core of it.
It sure is.
It's the core of it. It's, they say it, and if you ever take a basic econ course, they're like, that's the point of it. It's to rip people off. It's to maximize efficiency. It's to, It's the core of it. But book I would suggest you read sometime. There's a book called Planet Slum. I don't think it's by Naomi Keane, but it's a book about pretty much about slums and how they follow cities and follow industries, like how like you can have a town, and if this town blows up, like, and it has like a good industry, suddenly you're gonna see it expand exponentially with like these like prop up cities made out of like twigs and made out of like recycled
I
material.
wish they made these cities out of candy.
Candy. Yeah.
I would love a nice candy city.
We need Willy Wonka's factory.
I want Willy Wonka to show up in these towns, so that, make sure they don't get too much sun or too much rain.
They didn't show that in the movie.
We need waterproof candy. Maybe you use candy and then you put a little lacquer on the outside, and then there you go.
Because you don't want them eating their houses.
Yeah, you don't want to get these psychos. They're hungry.
That's Oompa Loompa.
Yeah,
Oompa
those are my
TV.
people. Those are my peeps.
Please give us some clean water, please.
I wish, dude. That would be nice. I want the Candy City. Let's pull for the Candy City.
They don't talk about that in the new Willy Wonka movie, but if you look at the Willy Wonka factory just behind it, there's just a slum.
What's that little creep? What's that little creep's name? The new guy that does the Willy Wonka. Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet, yeah.
Shout out.
He's he seems cool. I like him.
Is he?
Yeah. I like Dune. I like the new Dune remakes.
Who does he look like? Lil Mabu?
He does look like Lil Mabu.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Take Your Bitch. Take
her on a trip. Fly her to New York. Sign my name all on her.
That lady, Christina or Chrissy or whatever her name is. Krishan. She is.
I know what I'm talking about.
You do. You know much better than me. She's back with her man, Blueface Killer.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Me too. Guess what she did, though? I don't know if you've seen this. She has a tattoo of his face on her face.
That's good.
Faceception.
I made a joke about that exact thing on my old show, my Keith Hebert show.
Old Keith Hebert show.
That was a really quick throwaway gag I put in at the end of one of the episodes. I was like, you can do this to support the show. You can do this. You can buy a puppy. You can do this. You can get a tattoo of my face on your face.
Faceception.
And then this lady goes and does that.
So how much money would it take for you to have a face tattoo? Like if someone were like, hey, put the Apple logo on your face.
Yeah.
And I'll pay you X amount of money.
Well, I'll be real, and I'll try to give like an actual answer. Like if getting the Apple tattoo on my face,
would you accept a lump sum or would it have to be a continuous payment?
I do lump.
You do lump?
Yeah,
okay.
why not?
Yeah.
I'm cool with lump. I can budget. I'm good at budgeting.
Okay. I'm not.
I'm a budgety guy. I can budget. But in all honesty, if I'm getting a tattoo for money as a brand, like a logo, I have to think about it in terms of like, okay, this tattoo is going to damage what I'd be able to do with my life once I get this tattoo.
Or improve it.
I'm going to say damage. I'm going to say it's probably not going to improve my life, because why would someone pay you money to improve your life? That doesn't make sense, does it?
I'm just the hypothetical is how much would it cost? How much would it cost this company to put a logo on your face?
Well, let's say it'll make me lose out on anywhere. Let's say it'll make me lose out on.
You're the one adding this conditional of like.
Let's say it's gonna make me lose out on minimum $30,000 to $40,000 a year. I think.
Fair enough.
In pay.
Fair enough.
So, you do that over, 35 years, with interest. 35 times $30K. You're looking at, over $1 million. I mean, it's $1
million.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like really fair with it. I would throw out the biggest number I could think of at that time. It'd be like $60 million.
60 million?
60 mil.
Well, I want to be real with it. I want to like actually have some logic behind it.
Yeah,
because there's no logic behind 60 million.
There's some logic behind it.
What's the logic?
Me and you are both stand-up comics, right? There could be a chance one day we're actually good and could make a ton of money. Suddenly we have a face tattoo, right? That doesn't, like, it's an apple face tattoo, and we got to, like, that could damage our brand.
Yeah.
Couldn't work for certain places.
That's
no
true.
Disney money. I'm thinking about our
well,
potential.
But that's also the thing too, is when you say something like body modification, you're also factoring in you can put makeup on, you can cover it up, which they do in movies all the time. So I don't think that would actually stop you from like an acting career. It'll mess you up in like a regular kind of like blue collar, white collar situation. Like you're not going to be making as much money with a face tattoo. Would it really
hinder you where you work?
I don't know, man. The people I see out in the world with face tattoos, they're not working the good jobs, the ones that you get paid more money. The lower paying jobs are the face tattoo people.
Honestly, all the face tattoo people I've ever heard of, they're millionaires.
Are these doctors, lawyers, surgeons?
Have you ever heard of Mikki the Gambler?
Yeah, Mikki the Gambler. Dude, I love Mikki the Gambler, dude.
Mikki the Gambler has face tattoos.
Yeah, he does.
Shout out Mikki. I genuinely love that dude. I think that guy's hilarious.
I love, dude, so much, because I'm a poker guy. I love poker. And I see his videos come up all the time. Because there's videos of him playing poker. And he's what they call a maniac poker player.
They're calling him a sharp player, right?
No, that's different. That's for his slot machines and that casino gambling stuff. Poker's a different animal. Casinos don't make money on poker based on what a player wins or loses. They make it based on hands you play. Mm-hmm. It's like every hand you play, they take a certain amount of money from the pot that gets swept into the casinos. They call it the rake. So it's like if you play $100, let's say, the rake might be like $5 from the hand. So the guy who won ends up only winning 95 of the pot, and the rest, the $5 goes to the casino. So like every hand, the casino's making some money. But when you're a gambler, you're not. He's a maniac he's a maniac in poker because.
I watched a video of him doing an. I watched a video of him doing an insane bluff.
Exactly.
This guy from New York. It was wild.
Well, he plays crazy ass hands, and when you play, there's a theory behind the really high end, like the really high level poker players know the theory of like which hands are the best, which ones give you more statistical odds of winning the hand, and there's certain hands that you play and certain hands that you should just fold. But sometimes the hand that you are supposed to fold wins. It'll just win by pure like luck. So if you play a hand, a crap hand, like 4-7, and you bet it like it's an ace king or like a good pair or something, and you get called, they probably have a pair and you have this crap hand, and if you have like 4-7 and then the board is like 5-6-8, you have a straight, and they're never going to put you on a straight, and you can just go all in, and they might call you and they'll lose a ton of money and be angry. And then that's what happens when you play bad hands. You can win legitimately, or you can just bluff the guy out of being like, oh, he's there's an ace, like I'm an idiot.
I think what's wild too is I think he showed that hand
afterwards.
I'm pretty sure
they do that. Which can be infuriating.
It's optional, but like I thought that was because he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, bro," and then he showed it. I'm like, dude.
No, I've seen him show his bluff.
Head game, but I think it's I highly recommend to the viewers and yourself watch Lex Friedman had Daniel Negreanu on.
Oh my god, that's my guy.
The poker kid. You're a mini Negreanu, he was talking about that same theory too. He's like, these poker players are so good that you almost have to play against theory sometimes
for sure
to win. And it's this idea of like playing with theory against theory, and then understand how that guy's thinking, and then go back. And he's like, it becomes even harder at the higher levels because
chess, bro.
Everybody understands the theory.
Yeah, it's
and
chess.
they can all play perfect theory.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, and then it takes me back. I think when someone knows something at a high level, they explain it in a way that you can apply it to something that you might understand at a level. Like, I always go back. Like, I think my base thing when I'm trying to understand something else is I go back to League of Legends, or I go back to a game that I'm really that I play and enjoy, and understand the mechanics of, and I'm like, oh, that's like bluffing, or like, oh, that's like ganking, or the bluffing's kind of like almost like ganking, or like, oh, it's almost like da da da. And then it's those meta games. It's playing that game within the game, you know.
It's the same. It was the same in Magic. Like, if you're playing a deck with counterspells in it, and you don't have a counterspell in your hand, and then you have mana up, representing that you are ready to cast a counterspell, your opponent might not play as strong of a play because they want to bait out your counterspell, or they don't want to lose their good card to your counterspell. They're waiting for you to like not have mana for it. And I've lost when I was bad. I mean, that's the kind of trick that you can fall for. Better players know how to play around things, but like, yeah, I'm not a great poker player, and I don't play against really great poker players. I play against people that know what they're doing, but it's not the same as playing against an insane player, because the insane players do things that just bad poker players could never do. Like, if you have 3 of a kind, that's a really good hand, but if the board is like, could you like one card, if they say the board makes a straight, if you have a 10 in your hand and you have like three sevens, you lose to a straight. And a really bad, like not a bad, but like a mediocre player would be like, I got 3 of a kind. He probably doesn't have the 8, but it's like, he probably could have the 8, you know? Could make a straight pretty easily and lose, and they'll throw way too much money in. It's very it's the head games. I haven't really experienced that level of play.
Also, the amounts. Like, you have to be a real psychopath to like calmly sit there. That bluff. I think, I don't know how much, but there was over like 200,000 or something on the table.
It gets
millions potentially.
Crazy. Yeah.
And this guy without a sweat is just chilling. And they're all trying to read each other, and they both seem uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But like, you could almost tell ahead of time like who's gonna win. Like, this one dude, like the guy he beat too was on Survivor at one point. I googled him.
Oh yeah, JRB.
He's like he's a legit poker player, and like
John Robert, Jean Paul Robert, or John.
I don't think it was John. This guy was from New York. He's like a New Yorker.
Oh, he was on Survivor.
A bodybuilder and everything.
Okay, no, maybe not. But this John something Robert.
Not too certain, but shout out Mikki. I also think he's. I've watched a ton of. I follow Spencer and all these other YouTubers, CoffeeZilla, who go after like scammers and fraudsters and stuff, and they've all tried doing videos about Mikki, because Mikki will say like, oh, I'll gamble for you, like to really rich people, and like he'll say I'll get you a certain return or whatever. And Spencer went out and he bankrolled Mikki, he met Mikki and everything. And the guy seems legit. The guy seems like he'll genuinely will make you money that way.
Well, yeah. So,
which is a weird talent.
He's made I mean, as far as I know, he said he's been banned from 95% of casinos, and he's made $32 million off casinos.
And he's obsessed with being a porn star. That's something he talks about a lot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of his interviews. He
talk about poker.
He's done all the interviews. Do you ever watch Soft Wide Underbelly?
I have, yeah.
He did a Soft Wide Underbelly where he talks about his come up. I've watched hours of his content because he's an interesting guy to listen to. He's a good voice to listen to.
I would check his episode out for sure.
Yeah, so he does it all in black and white too.
That's a good show.
That's a great soft, even though it is very much
channel, I guess.
That channel is definitely pervasive though. He takes advantage of poor people. Like I watch it, but I'm like, you really do take advantage of people, because like his most watched video are like literally like homeless prostitutes, homeless drug addicts who are.
What about the Appalachian people?
Yeah,
totally inbred family.
Incest family. He's done multiple videos of.
Yeah.
And I don't know what their compensation structure is.
I don't know if they're getting anything. I don't think they get anything.
He's like getting all this money and recognition.
The guy that just barks. Yeah. Well, I think he actually passed away, that guy. But like,
he has a lot of interesting videos.
You really, it's like, hey, look at the people in America that are like having problems.
It's a modern day freak show. Like, because he knows people aren't watching it for the right reasons.
How weird of a name is Soft Wide Underbelly, though?
Well, it's a take. It's a take on a very classic saying, to get to the soft white underbelly or something. Mm-hmm. Which
I get like a feeling when I hear that.
What type of feeling?
I just think about like petting a hamster's belly. just petting up on a hamster, or maybe like a
piglet.
Some kind of a. That was the first one. I'm gonna go with hammy.
I think it is hammy. It's a hamster.
Something with, or like a mouse.
Oh, jeez. I remember I was at a party, actually, a mutual friend of ours. I was at a birthday party.
Yeah.
And I met this guy. And I was talking to him just casually. And he was like, yeah, I'm a scientist. I'm like, oh, wow, you're a scientist. It's cool, man. What do you do? He's like, I just kill rats all day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
no,
really?
There's a lot of scientists like that.
He's like, yeah, I'm just like, he's like, I literally I kill and dispose of an ungodly amount of rats. I'm like, for what research? He's like, oh, just for fun.
Yeah, no,
so bad.
I knew a guy that was a neuroscientist, and he did that. He just open rats up, look at their brains, and do tests on rats and stuff.
Science is crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just start opening up people's brains. They'd rather have you start on animals.
Well, unless your name's Elon Musk. First Neuralink transplant occurred 3 weeks ago.
When they were initially doing signups,
you signed up?
I was gonna sign up, and then they're like, you have to be like quadriplegic, and I was like, well, I gotta get to work.
I would just wonder how that guy is gonna do, man. It's a guy. I think
a woman wouldn't sign up for that.
No, because women are just generally smarter,
Yeah, a woman's not going to do something like that.
Oh, who knows? I don't know. And honestly, if you're quadriplegic and everything, like, why not? Why not shoot your shot?
Oh yeah, that's the whole thing. Is it like these people that get these crazy treatments that are like low success rate? They're doing it because they're not. It's not looking good, but they get a chance. So I can see how you're just like, it's a really wild decision. You're just playing with your life like that. But when you're already like possibly on the outs, it's like, why not?
It's funny because
for humanity,
as a society, we praise people in that position quite often. We're like, you're so strong for living that life and going through that. And like, but I remember, I forget what I was watching, but this one guy said, it's funny, a lot of people praise me, I'm a quadriplegic or whatever, and he's like, a lot of people praise me, and
they
say
the same
like,
thing.
This is good, I'm living my life, I'm doing the best I can, but nobody's praising me when I'm at home alone and I can't do certain things that I was able to do.
And he's trying to booby trap the house for the robbers.
Yeah.
And he's,
Sergeant
it's Christmas
piling
time.
It up.
His family's not around. He's
Yeah.
home alone.
Yeah.
Shout
he just
out
needs
Kevin
to pull
McAllister.
himself up from his boob straps.
His boob straps.
Boob straps. Is that the female version? Just pick yourself up from your bootstraps. Just pick yourself up from your boob straps.
Your boob straps, and just move on with your life.
Speaking of women, one of my favorite celebrities, Shaquille O'Neal, said something wild on a podcast recently. I don't know if you heard.
About women?
About women. He said...
What did he say, Mo?
He said...
What did old Shaq say?
Someone asked him, hey, Shaq, do you open up to women? And he said, no, I don't open up to women. I don't tell women about my emotions. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. Don't have any problem with women in business.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have any problem with... I don't think women are less than. I just think in relationships... I never open up to my partner because that's the first thing they'll use against you in a fight is the fact that you're like, oh, the reason you feel this way is because your daddy did that.
Yeah, I can get into that because you don't want to be exposing your soft white underbelly to the one you love. You know, that's your underbelly.
That's your underbelly.
You need to keep it soft and white.
Yeah, you got to keep it. You got to keep it chill.
Yeah,
Have you ever cried in front of Amy?
for sure.
Birth of your child, like you're like.
I cried because I was like, oh my god, all my fun is gone. I'm gonna cry now. Bye bye. No, I didn't. Actually, I
Let's
didn't
play
cry.
that for your kid.
You know, I'm gonna be real. I didn't cry. I don't think I cried at the birth.
Dude, I think I would bawl at the birth of my child.
But the thing, it's such a blur. I might have and just blanked it out. But I was, I had a conversation with Amy the other day. I'm getting real on this podcast right now.
Real.
So we're not going to do this. I'm going to get real, but I'm not going to demonstrate it. You guys just can take my word for it. But so
demonstrate?
You'll see you'll get it. So, my old dog of, 12 years passed away, 4 years ago. And it was a very tough loss. That's your dog. You love your dog. It's really hard when you lose a pet because they're just there for you like nothing else. It's like a horrible thing. And everybody who has a pet understands that. And so when you get your pet cremated, or when your pet dies, the vet will often send you something, a condolence card or whatever, and they'll send you a card, and then they have this like little it's like a little thing. I don't know if it's not really an essay. It's like a poem almost, kind of, but it's called The Rainbow Bridge, and they just talk about your pet, and it's just like, it says how your pet's going to be waiting there for you when you eventually are gone and they're healed and you'll see your pet. And it's when you're in a sad place, it really hits home. And it really made me, the waterworks were wide open for that reading that thing about your dead, because you just imagine, you're like, wow, maybe I'll get to see my dog again, and like,
I just made that weird face because of the way I process my emotions. It's just, that would upset me. That would anger me. Like, that would just anger me that somebody sent me that.
I interpret it as very sweet.
I think the condolences is sweet. Hey, we feel bad that you're struggling with this, because it is a loss. Like, I'm new to the pet ownership thing. So even thinking about Yoshi getting hurt or her being sick, first time we took her to the emergency vet, I cried. But the concept of somebody sending me like almost something that seems spiritual, that's telling me how to process that death beyond just acknowledging it, like, hey, I'm sorry, but telling me like almost like a spiritual story about it, as if I'm a 10-year-old, would, just knowing me and the way I process emotional things, I would be driven mad. I would fixate on that. I would be very angry. I don't think I would call them, but I would be so angry.
That is so polar of how I felt. And my whole thing was like, if I read that, I will cry. I'll start crying. Anytime I read that, I could literally I could start crying right now if I read that thing.
Damn.
Because it hits me.
I'm sorry to yuck your yum. Or...
that was a very hard yuck my like sensitive moment that I was sharing with.
I'm a real motherfucker. What can I say? Oh my god, I'm sorry.
That's crazy. That really was like very. I can't wait to do that to you though. When you're getting.
I hope did I offend you? I'm not trying to offend you. I don't think I don't disparage you for it. It's more the act of.
But the fact that you chose
sending it to me.
But the fact that you chose that moment to share that really, like, completely polar opposite of how I felt and how I shared it, you took it and like you just destroyed it, and that was like really kind of intense to have that reaction.
Man. I didn't. It's just that's just how I process it in my head.
Because I get it.
I don't mean to offend you.
No,
I really don't.
But But it is wild that I was like, yeah, I got really emotional, and you're like, I would be mad and I would kill people.
I wouldn't. Whoa.
Yeah,
I didn't say I'd
listen to
kill
the
people.
tape. You rewind
I would
it.
get angry at. First off, Keith,
But I can't.
thank you for sharing.
And
that.
like I said, I. It's just like you just. It's I don't know. It's a wild thing, man. It just hit me. It got me, and now every time I read it, I don't read it because I will cry. Because I think about it, I connect. Well, it's a very well-known thing. This little rainbow bridge writing. I don't know what you would call it. It's a small, like a little. I don't know, paragraph or two thing about when your pet passes away. But yeah, I could cry on command. If ever needed to have a crying scene in an adult film, just show me that poem and I'm done. I'll call it a poem. It's probably not a poem.
I want to Google that.
You'll get all Misty Mo. They'll call you Misty Mo at the emergency vet as you cry because your dog ate your fucking insert on your fucking big person shoes or whatever you have. You ate the biggest shoe insert.
I
of
do
all
sincerely
time.
apologize, Keith, for saying that because I do. You were opening up. I feel like that was
that was cool, man.
But no, I just maybe it's
literally I hate. See, this is the thing. I hate being sincere on this podcast. I hate it, and now I truly have. I know what happens when I get sincere.
See,
it's like
we go back to Shaquille O'Neal just saying when you open yourself up.
I know it all comes around.
To pain.
You are women.
Do you want me to open up about something very personal and you can just like really shut it down?
I can dump on it.
You want to?
I mean,
I want. It's like
you're the one that gets more serious on this podcast. So there are times when you're talking about something serious where in my mind I'm like, we're a silly podcast and we're really just trying to make people laugh here. So like anytime like he's talking about, Black Lives Matter protests, and I'm just trying to think of a joke I can tell because it's just like I feel like nothing should be sacred. I think
nothing is sacred.
And I think the fact that you just took a big hot shit on my moment, it's kind of a nice. It's like that's what this podcast is.
I didn't intend to take a big hot shit. I think you were sharing something with me, and the way I processed it, and I was just like, oh, that would anger me.
Yeah,
because of the idea of somebody, maybe it's just the way I get emotional. I don't want someone to tell me how I feel. I think it's very fine when someone tells me, like, hey, I'm sorry this happened to you. But when
one day, when your dog dies, and they send you that, you'll read it and you'll think of me when you're very mad, and then you shoot everybody at the vet.
Okay. First off, why is it that you assumed I would shoot somebody?
With rubber bands.
Why is it that you assumed I would shoot somebody?
I don't know.
No.
Because you seem so angry.
I would get angry at that, dude.
You're not an angry guy.
I am an angry guy. I think all comics are angry people, but I did want to talk about how, I don't know, for me...
talk about Shaq some more? Squeak
I want to keep it silly. But no, I'm just thinking about, just in general, and maybe this is an off the podcast thing, but it's like, for me, a lot of the jokes I write, and a lot of what I share come from dark personal experiences. Like one of my jokes, I did it when we were in Lewiston, was I just recently had to deal with a mental health crisis with someone close to me, and it was really messed up. They thought they were a Batman villain, and for a second, I was Batman, and I took that little nigga down to Arkham Asylum. And that's how I kind of process those bad things, because there has to be, I don't know, there has to be like a joke about it. There has to be like, I don't take bad memories or bad experiences and I go, let them be all bad, or let it be like, I want to process. I think there's a joke in there somewhere, but maybe that's why I'm more open to talk through that stuff, because I think there's material in it somehow. That's my stick.
I love
Just
material.
grab my stick like that.
I love material.
Do you want to shit on this? Okay, this is something you can shit on.
Okay,
Keith.
all right. Tell me about
Ask
it.
me about my stick.
Is this your diabetes stick for when you get your foot lopped off one day? Are you practicing for having one foot?
Keep going, Keith. Let it all out.
Are you practicing for giving that to some guy at the bottom of a mountain you won't climb?
Keep going, Keith. Keep going.
Are you I don't know. Are you gonna? Is that the stick that you're gonna cut into little pieces and use to make like chess pieces when you're 80?
That was weak.
No, that's more of like that's less of a roast and more of a like a practical thing to do.
This was 2014 was my last.
Oh, please
year
tell me this is okay. Yeah,
as a summer camp counselor.
Nice. Here we go.
And this was the little fire stick that I used in Senior Boys Village, the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Maine. And
I like that you went with the Senior Boys Village.
Yeah, because for the boys.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
How young were these boys?
I think oldest could be 16.
Too old.
Yeah, too old.
Too old for you. That's why you had to get the hell out of there.
I had to. That's why I went to. So
is this cut?
These are all initials. These kids' initials.
Is this because you just got hungry and you just had to take a couple chews off that
to survive? So Keith, do you want more?
You could get from the lodging area to the mess hall.
So all the kids that I was a camp counselor for put their initials on here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then you wrote I Heart next to all of them?
No.
You carved I Heart into every one of them.
Mo on the top, right there. Because I'm on the top.
You're a top.
Yeah, I'm on top.
Power top.
There's no such thing. Is there a power top?
I don't know.
Have you ever met a power bottom?
I've met you.
Okay, I share a little bit with share.
See, this is my problem. Is like
now you're just like, I need to get a bag.
I know. Well, you kind of told me to, so
Oh,
I just lost a roast battle so now I'm trying to make up for it on one stick.
I heard you got yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that.
I got spanked.
Yeah.
I didn't get spanked.
You got spanked.
I didn't. Absolutely not. I have it recorded, and you could hear what
I was
happened.
gonna actually say I heard you got robbed, like San Francisco was during the Super Bowl.
Okay, there it is. I was robbed.
You were robbed.
You heard that? Who'd you hear that from?
You
heard from me.
I heard it from you. And then you showed me evidence, and then I was like, you know what? That man was robbed.
I was robbed.
Because Danny isn't funny. I'll put it out there.
Danny Jordan
is just not funny.
He's not a funny guy, and he sucks, frankly. He should probably quit comedy.
I take that back. Danny's a sweet boy.
Come on, man.
He's a sweet boy.
Can we just talk some shit on this podcast and like have some...
I'll talk shit about Michaela any day of the week.
Drama going on.
You want to talk about Michaela? I'm down. I hate Michaela.
Okay.
Let's talk about Michaela sucks.
Michaela, you heard it here. You suck.
I wasn't enthused enough. I like Anders too much.
Yep. That's nice.
I love Anders.
No, we gotta start. We gotta really start dishing the dirt on the local comedians, because what's gonna happen is Well, this is what's gonna happen. Eventually, one of them's gonna accidentally listen to this, and they're gonna be like, "Whoa, what?" They said what, and then it's like it blows up.
I said Michaela only because I know Michaela will never listen. You could send this to Michaela, she wouldn't listen.
She'd be like, "I'll get right on that."
Yeah. What else? Dude, I could tell you things about me if you want to just roast me.
No. We're good. I just thought it.
Also, I wasn't roasting you. I wasn't insulting what you shared.
Oh, I know that. I
wasn't.
It just
everyone processes.
It just
things
sucks
differently.
It just sucks when because you know when what'll like when you're being vulnerable to somebody, I think in your brain when you're being vulnerable, you're hoping that the person you're being vulnerable to will be copacetic with what you're saying and they'll relate with you, and then you'll have this moment. But it was the opposite. It was like,
because that's not how you relate with people,
which is fine.
Why is agreement
but when you're
relating?
when you're being vulnerable, it's a little different. Like when you're like, oh, something really bad happened to me. This guy he attacked me and he punched me and I threw up and I peed my pants, and then.
And you didn't fight back?
And you're
fucking
being
pussy?
Exactly.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
That's what I'm saying.
You're less of a man.
There it is. That's what Mo did.
I don't think I did that. I think I did.
No, but that's kind of the what
what I feel bad about, and I genuinely do feel bad about?
All right.
Is
I don't believe it, but okay.
When you stopped, and were you kind of like, hey, I'm kind of sharing something right now?
Yeah.
I felt bad. Not just because it was called out, but because I was like, oh, my intention wasn't to make you feel bad.
I know.
And it's also like self-centered of me to put myself where you were.
You were very...
And that's what made me feel bad. It's like, that's a self-centered thing to say.
I would say you were an egomaniac in that moment.
Yeah. But also, I think if we go back in some Mo Keith times, I've been vulnerable
100%.
and you've been the same way.
100%. 100%. It's absolutely.
Now it's awkward. I can never come back here.
Awkward?
I can't come back here.
I
can't use your bathroom. I can't come back.
Probably the best episode ever. I have a jug for you that you could use.
Where's the jug?
And I know plenty of cool people that have used the jug.
He invites me to his home. He doesn't lay out any snacks
like
for
that,
me.
By the way.
And no jug for me to pee in. No jug for me to pee in.
I lay no snacks out. I have no pee jug.
This is not how we treat people in Dubai. I was going to say something fucked up.
Yeah, nice.
Usually an orphan boy has... Oh, okay. No.
Orphan boy. Something about orphan boys and pee-pee? That's nice. That's real nice.
I think... Is it Korea? There's a country out there...
Let's just say it's Korea.
There's a delicacy... I think it is Korea called like golden boy egg, which is like literally egg pickled in a young boy's pee.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gross. Really
it's not very good?
Yeah, well, I've never had it.
Oh, you haven't had it. You hadn't had.
I haven't had it yet.
You hadn't had a dozen of those eggs?
No.
No.
Have you ever had century eggs?
No, is that?
It's the same thing, but an old man pees in the.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you ever had octogenarian eggs? Same thing. 80-year-old man does it. Mm-hmm. He has to be exactly. It has to be on his birthday, or it doesn't work.
They have a farm of 80-year-old men.
Yeah,
in Chile.
On your birthday, in that 24-hour window when you're exactly 80. And the closer you get to the minute of being 80, your pee is like that much more perfect for the eggs. So there you go. Something you guys can try.
That would be a great Super Bowl meal. A good Super Bowl snack.
Yeah, I mean, it's tradition around here that we fill all the toilets with eggs. And we just say, leave it, whatever you do in there, leave it.
Even with egg prices the way they are?
I say, well, no, because I break into my neighbor's little chicken coop and I steal all their eggs.
You're the local fox.
I'm the local fox. And I do it for my cool Super Bowl toilet tricks.
Oh, man. Do people still have chicken? Can you have a chicken coop in Maine during the winter?
Yeah, we don't live in Nazi Germany, okay?
I thought this was Pol Pot's Cambodia.
Pol Pot's mansion?
Okay, I think I'm going to hell.
What do you mean?
I think I'm going to hell.
It's the best podcast yet.
This is the podcast that ruins me.
No way, dude. That's the one we got to do. We need to ruin ourselves with a pod, because no one's gonna listen unless we're ruining our lives. You saw what happened to Shane Gillis. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, Shane Gillis. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about that bit that everyone talks about. He's making them at night. He's making them at night. And I'm gonna get serious with you. Do you remember Kevin Hart's big special a long time ago that kind of made him really famous?
Sure.
And it was a bit about his mom.
Yeah, yeah.
And his mom gave him permission to cuss for the first time, and he called his teacher like long nipple at her.
Yeah.
And my mama told me to tell you. Do you remember the height of a stand-up special? Like, you knew a special was really famous and good? Was when people were repeating it all the time at work, at home, at school.
Sure.
Like, did you ever go to school and like people were repeating a bit from a comedy special? That's how you know it was like really good.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
Dane Cook and Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
For me, those were the ones where it was like you'd hear people talk about.
To me, it was Cat Williams, a little bit of Dave Chappelle, but it was the big Kevin Hart
was
thing.
a big one.
Yeah, the Cookie Monster.
Kevin Hart, I think he hit after I was in college, so I kind of missed Kevin Hart's big rise of comedy.
But I think that's like how a comedy special goes from meh to like legendary, right?
Yeah.
And I think Shane Gillis's bit about
making them at night
is at that point. People are repeating it without because now it's like hard to tell if like a special is really good because people take the best clips and they just shoot the clips out there, and then you kind of tell how often you've seen the clip or whatever. Well, Shane Gillis's thing, I think more people are saying it interpersonally, and it's kind of gotten into that web.
Oh, his special,
it's so good.
His special is the best special in the last, I would say, couple of years.
It's a really good special.
Oh yeah,
and he's a really talented comedian.
And his sketches are great. He's probably gonna be
controversial fact. I think he's a better sketch maker than he is a stand-up comic. I think his sketches are just like Saturday Night Live missed out on him.
It was like Louis C.K. Like his show was amazing.
Louis was a phenomenal show. Even that other show he did only on the internet. Horace and Pete was hilarious.
That was a crazy show. Crazy ending.
I was just watching a little bit of the Louis show when he was on Fox News debating with a woman who was anti-masturbation.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff that didn't age well based on his allegations.
Oh, the N-word bit didn't age well. Oh yeah, that one in his
Have you seen the Patrice one? He was talking about how with the Jewish Patrice is talking. He's like, hey, so the K word, but he's dropping the K word in this interview. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh yeah, so the K word is...
Oh, I've seen that on actual news. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, the K word came from, it was like, whatever, they'd shorten it to that. And it was like, so they called him that. And then Louis goes, oh, you know where the N word? And he actually says it. He's like, it's because there was a guy, he was just kind of being one. And then that's just... so they called him the N-word. It's just like, it's like, Patrice is just like laughing. I mean,
the thing about Patrice O'Neal too is he was so funny. He was so talented, but he hated women. Like, it's hard to listen to his stand-up and go, that man genuinely loves women. Like, I think there was a little bit of hate of women.
He grew up... I mean,
no, I'm not judging him for it, but it's like a lot of people that defend him. I'm like, no, dude, I love him too. I think he's funny.
Yes,
but if you listen to him enough, you could tell, oh, this guy has a chip on his shoulder. Someone hurt him. But Bill Burr said the funniest thing. I forget where it was. It was actually in the Netflix documentary about Chris Rock and Kevin Hart doing a show together. And they had Bill Burr on, and Bill Burr was talking about Patrice. He's like, I do a benefit for that motherfucker every year. Yeah. Every year I do a benefit for that motherfucker.
Well, it's for his family.
And you know what? Family. If I died, he wouldn't do shit for me.
Exactly. No, it's probably true.
And I think that is hilarious.
But also, yeah, I don't know I think he probably would have. Well, you're right. No.
I don't think Patrice O'Neal would have. No. He was 100% himself. If Patrice O'Neal was alive right now, I think he would have a TikTok live show where he just talks shit about women for hours.
People, I mean, they talk about comics who've gone and before the podcast thing took off, and they talk about how great these dead comedians podcasts would have ended up
being. Bernie Mac. Oh my God. Imagine the Bernie Mac podcast.
Imagine Richard Pryor having a podcast.
I don't think Pryor would do it. Pryor would be a podcast guest, but I don't think Pryor
Carlin.
Would do it. I don't think Carlin would do it either. Wasn't Carlin notorious for like not liking being around people. Like no, Carlin like was an introverted guy. Like he was on stage, he was extroverted, but like, and he'll do show appearances, but he was like a real artist about like, I'm gonna be present during the show.
Well,
But he wasn't like, apparently after the show he was like, you couldn't even talk to him. Like he was just really in his own world.
I guess he had a pretty cool interaction when he met Mark Normand before Mark Normand was a comedian. Like Mark Normand went to a book signing and met him, and he like made a zing on him or something, and he loved it and never forget that. And then another cool story was he, like, I think it was Gary Shandling. You ever heard of him?
No.
He was like, he had a show on HBO in the 90s, and it was like it was kind of like in the style of what would become like The Office. So it was like a show about a show, though. It was like a show about him having a talk show. But it was like a parody, It was very meta kind of humor. But anyway, Gary Shandling was a pretty well-known comedian, and they did a big documentary about him. Judd Apatow directed it, and it was on HBO. And he had a cool story when he was young. He like gave George Carlin some jokes. He just like gave him. He's like, "Hey, here's some jokes I wrote. Like, can you look at them?" And then he actually read them and like responded to them and like talked to me. He's like, "You got a lot of good stuff here, this is that and this is that." And then he ended up like telling one of them on the Tonight Show or something and paying him for it.
Wow.
So
Carlin,
he's a pretty cool guy.
I also think it's fun when you watch, to me, like, I don't know, he's in my top 5 of all of comics that I love, but have you ever watched old Carlin, like when he was on like those old talk shows, black and white with a suit and tie, clean cut, like different character? It's weird how really good comics seem to be. They're undyingly funny. They were funny no matter the timeline.
Yeah.
But it's weird to see their looks change, like, and them being so young. Because for me, I grew up with Carlin, all black, giant beard, crazy, almost beatnik type.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
That was my Carlin as a kid.
When he was at the very end.
But everybody had their own Carlin.
Yeah. When I knew Carlin was actually the first stand-up comedian I think I really ever remember hearing or like hearing an album of theirs. And I remember that was the first time where I was like, wow, that would be a cool job to do stand-up comedy for a living. That would be so cool, And it was his album Parental Advisory, Explicit Lyrics. It's like he made it so the front of the album, like the bottom half was the whole bottom half was the sign, and the top half was like the top of his head, because he was just kind of like, fuck you to the whole Nancy Reagan putting that on everything, and it's just like, here it's gonna be real huge. But that had like the 7 dirty words, and I was like I don't know, I think it was a tape actually, if I remember correctly. I think it was a tape. It was probably like 1994.
And it was back, I grew up, my Carlin was on Comedy Central all the time, because it was back when Comedy Central, they didn't fuss around with like bad TV shows. They just had stand-up. They had like straight up stand-up specials going on all the time.
Yeah.
But it's funny, it's like you also can see, like, have you seen like really old Richard Pryor? Like him, like young face, like on shows, like trying out being jokes clean in that world, being clean, and like it's just always funny to watch that stuff. Carlin's on my top 5 for sure. Top 5 ever, top 5 goated.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'll say, like, with all stand up, I think it pretty much just doesn't really hold up. For me, like, I can't listen to Carlin anymore and get the same thing out of it. Like, it's just, I'm desensitized because I've heard it. I need new stuff. I need to hear something new.
I think
I still have nothing but respect for him. I'm not saying because he's not a good comedian. I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't.
He also has a really good excuse for not having new material.
Well, apparently a new album come out that everybody's talking about. But But my point,
Carlin from the grave.
my point is, it's just he's just like Bill Hicks. I used to love Bill Hicks, and he's dead, man. He doesn't have anything new.
Well, I like Carlin because I can go back to certain bits that I remember. Like, you know, his giant bit about make a whole different state for all the shitty people and put it on live TV. And I like this dystopian idea of taking all the prisoners and bad people and giving them all the drugs they want and putting them on an island. And it's this world building in a joke that I appreciate. I appreciate jokes where there's this world that you build. Like Dave Chappelle and his joke about Sesame Street. There's this world of Sesame Street in the hood all of a sudden created where the the Count is a pimp and the Cookie Monster is a crack fiend and Oscar the Grouch is a homeless dude that they're making fun of for having a negative attitude. And this giant world building I love, like Chris Rock and his bit about bullets costing $5,000 a bullet, and when you see someone who gets shot like 45 times, you're like, oh man, that's like $1 million worth of bullets or whatever. You're like,
sure.
Jesus, that's like, there's this world building element that I think Carlin was really good at. So I think it's hard not to put him on your top 5. But you're right. It's like comedy is all about the now. Like it's all about like what are people talking about now? Who's kind of hitting on the hardest stuff right now?
And like topical jokes don't age well. It's like, I mean, Clinton, like, can you imagine telling a Clinton joke? Like,
yeah, I think some Clinton jokes would hit hard right now.
Yeah, but regarding like
Monica Lewinsky,
just like really old stories,
which is the saddest thing. Monica Lewinsky. I had a joke about how I grew up at a time where nobody got canceled except Monica Lewinsky, because she got canceled.
Yeah, I mean, she had
awful.
She had it coming. She had it coming.
For what? Just giving the president a blowjob?
Being annoying. Just like, shut up, lady.
Jeez, I'm not going to co-sign that. I do see you have The Other Guys on DVD. That's a phenomenal movie.
It's a great way to end the podcast.
With Idiocracy and Curb Your Enthusiasm and Ghetto Booties 99. Dude, why is that on your top shelf?
Do I have Ghetto Booties 99?
You have Ghetto Booties 99. Volume 2.
It's the best one. Volume 2, they made some really great improvements, and I highly recommend that you go get your Ghetto Booty on.
Now smash the subscribe button.
Yeah, click the like button.
Like this
and
one.
And if you comment, I'll respond.
I will respond too in my other YouTube channel, Somali Star Productions. Guess what?
And this has been Mo Keith time.
Expelliarmus!
Sticking it to you.
Avada Kedavra!